Hello. Appreciate you guys joining me this evening. Looks like we've already got a couple of questions up in the chat. Like to start with a couple of things. First, I'd like to start off tonight's live chat with a moment of silence for an AFA member who was very tragically taken from us this last week. It's been really hard on those who knew him. He was a member that went to Odenshoff and was friends with quite a few people out west and made a big impact on the lives that he touched. So if you guys would join me in a moment of silence for Adam Wayne Hart. I know he will certainly be missed. But on to happier things. A couple of things I wanted to announce since the last time I spoke with you guys. We have two new AFA kindreds that I wanted to mention. We've got Stonewall Kindred in West Virginia, Western regular Virginia, and Maryland area. And those guys are an offshoot of the Iron Guard Kindred, made up of solid AFA members there. They're going to do really good things, and we're excited to see that. Also very exciting, we have our first Irish AFA kindred, Paca McTira, and that's headed up by Fiona Edgar, our folk builder over in Northern Ireland, and I'm very excited to see that. This is like I said, the first kindred we've had there, and I think it's a really exciting addition. To get to a couple of things on the side, can't see when you asked, but Joel asked nice and early for news about Baldershoff and if there's been more understanding of the AFA there. Still, we wait on Baldershoff. I believe things are going well. Hopefully, we know a little bit more, and the zoning situation works out in our favor. I think that it should. Don't have any new news on that, but hopefully here relatively soon we will. As for whether there's more understanding for the AFA in the area, absolutely. We've heard great things from our folks that have been up there. As far as the community having nothing but positive things to say, stopping by, waving, extending courtesy, and some of them even apologizing for some of the rougher treatment that we've received. It seems to be a lot of people that are outside of that community stirring things up. But the locals there in Murdoch have been very nice to us, and we really appreciate that. We have a question about the status of AFA kilts. Okay. So it came to my attention, one of our folk builder for the Midwest, specifically the Wisconsin area, James Alt, found some distributors that can do a whole variety of things in our custom AFA tartan. Being that it's a registered tartan, there's some custom shops that can do things that way. Because there's not a wide demand for our tartan, the price is very steep at this point. But we're looking into the best deals on that. In order to get something made in-house to get kilts, for a reasonable price, we need to pre-order 70 or so to make that work, and I think that's it's been a difficult thing so far. I'm waiting to hear if that interest's there, but it's a pretty substantial investment, and so far we don't have 70 people that have committed to pre-ordering for it. But we would love to see things in our official AFA tartan. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful pattern, and it would be very exciting to see that in use. Oh, great. I'm glad we've got some Danes joining us. It's been too long. I was in Denmark back in 2014 on an AFA trip, and I absolutely loved it there. Some very special experiences in Denmark. David, I'm glad we're on YouTube instead of Facebook too. Hopefully we get the traffic here. Hopefully we can spread the word. I know it's kind of a new platform for people to be expecting us on. But this worked a lot better last time, I thought. It's certainly easier on my end, and just seems to be kind of an all around better experience. Um, Got a question on how the folk building is going in Idaho. Folk building is going great in Idaho. Our folk builder Ben Cooper in Idaho is there and ready, and they're building a good community. We have the North Idaho All Thing Kindred in the area, and there's some solid folks doing great things, building families. So yeah, we've seen quite a bit of growth in Idaho over the last year, I'd say. See some excitement about Texas. Texas is also a region that's really taken off for the AFA in the last, say about 4 months, 3-4 months, and that's been in large part to Gothi Kevin Long moving to the Texas area. I say the Texas area, he moved to Texas, but I believe he's in the Austin area. And he's been doing great things there. One of our new folk building apprentices, Lori Wadsworth's been doing really good things there. So yeah, we've got a lot of excitement in Texas that we haven't seen for a while, and getting a lot of membership joining. And I'm pretty excited about what I see there. I'm glad so far the feedback on doing it on YouTube is looking pretty positive. That's always nice. Is there an AFA presence in Michigan? Absolutely, there's an AFA presence in Michigan. I mentioned the gentleman that pointed out the places where you could get custom AFA tartan things. James Alt, he's our folk builder there, and he's Michigan's part of the AFA's Midwest region. James is working out of Wisconsin, but he does a lot to build our folk in Michigan, and we got quite a few members there. What exactly is the zoning problem with Baldershoff? So we purchased a former, I want to say, Lutheran church. And that had been on the spot for a very long time as a religious use building. A few years back, though, someone purchased it and they were going to turn it into a residence. And they started up a couple of projects and quickly lost interest and put it back on the market. But they had went ahead and changed that zoning to a residence. So we're wanting to go back to its traditional zoning to be a religious use. And we're working our way through that process right now. I do not have any recommendations on Yule literature for children. I'm hoping somebody who is looking at this chat can help me out and throw you a couple of good suggestions on here. As a new father, I'm going to need to figure out some good Yule literature for children. So I think we could all use that. If anybody reads this and has suggestions, please throw them up in the chat on the side. Speaking of stuff for children, though, I wanted to mention, go ahead, no time like the present to register your children, or if you're a child watching this, to get your parents to register you for the AFA Youth Program for 2021. 2020 was the first year we've started the AFA Youth Program. Folk builder Brandy Callahan is running that, and she has done a truly phenomenal job with it this year. We've seen a lot of activity, a lot of interest. It's been a great program. It's evolving, so it's always going to be better than the previous year. But we're pretty excited to get started in 2021. And if you're interested, if you got children, if you know folks that have Ouster True children that'd be interested, get the word out and send an email to bcallahan@runestone.org, and she'll get you all set up. I also believe you can send an email to youth@runestone.org. Is there an AFA presence in Arizona? There is. I would always like to see there be a better one, but there's an AFA presence there. And as a matter of fact, we've got one of our great members down there hosting a good sized Yule celebration. So if you're interested, you want to contact our folk builder for the region, Jason Plourde, JPLOURDE at runestone.org. And he can get you information if that's something you're interested in. Looks like Rob already had that taken care of, answering that question. Oh, the suggestion for Survive the Jives Yule book. I'm not sure about the American distribution of that. If that's available for a reasonable price here in the United States, that's a great book. I was at an event with him when he was marketing that when he first came out with it, and it's beautifully illustrated. It's a really neat book. So yeah, I highly recommend that. Good call. Yeah, good call on putting that out there. Thank you very much. The AFA really is everywhere you want to be. One of the neat things watching the AFA grow over the last several years, we've got AFA across the country and truly around the world. Got AFA members in 15 different countries and all throughout the United States. And chances are, wherever you're at, if you're willing to drive maybe a couple of hours, you've got AFA members near you. Chances are better than not, you have a thriving AFA community near you. So it's really kind of an exciting time. Oh, hey, Lane, I didn't recognize your YouTube name. Azathoth. Yes, Jason is awesome. Jason's a good friend of mine. He's doing good things out there. And yeah, he'd be a great guy for you to contact. Anybody in the whole Four Corners region, Jason can get you set up. So something else that we're doing, and we haven't really announced to everybody yet, but I think this is as good a place as any. I mentioned that Brandy Callahan is running the AFA Youth Program. What we're also going to have starting in January is we're going to have a little program for adults that are interested in, new to Alsatru, new to the AFA, to get kind of a grounding in the fundamentals of the AFA, who we are, what we do, and how we practice Alsatru. And so folks who are interested in that, certainly new people or people who just want to brush up on some of the basics, please send your emails to bcallahan@runestone.org, and Brandy would love to get you set up with that. We're launching that for the first time in January, and we're excited to see where that goes. Yes, absolutely. You need to come check out the Hof we have in Brownsville. Odenshof in Brownsville, California, Thorshof in Linden, North Carolina, and Baldershof in Murdock, Minnesota. Do we have any other questions off the bat here tonight? So in the meantime, while we wait on some questions, it has shocked me how fast 2020 has come and gone. And it goes without saying, it's been a rough year in a lot of ways. But for us in the AFA, it's been a really, really good year. We've hosted our largest national gathering that we've ever had at Odenshof at Midsummer. We had over 140 people. We got 2 new Hoffs this year, which has been an amazing thing. It's really been a very special year to celebrate. We've been celebrating our 25th anniversary all year. Now coming up on the end of the year, we have 26 years in the books now as the As True Folk Assembly, and it's a really special thing to be a part of, and it really says something that we've built a 26-year relationship with the ACER. That relationship has paid off immensely for us. We have been blessed tremendously by our gods, and I hope very much that the relationship has paid off well for them. Everything we do, we hope, makes the gods proud of us and helps to glorify them and to glorify our folk and to work their will here in Midgard. But yeah, we've had some really good things this year. It's shocking to me that it's already Yule's upon us, and it's a very special time of year. If you're able, if you're healthy, I would encourage all of you guys, everyone, please spend time with your family this Yule season. Celebrate with your family, celebrate with your folk, celebrate with the AFA. Do it right, make it special. We never know how many of these we have. This may be the last Yule we have. Now, I'm not doom and gloom. I expect many more amazing Yules, but you never know. Don't take them for granted and celebrate time with your folk and your family. Please don't let fear prevent you from doing that. Excellent. Brandy over there put her email address on the side. Again, she's the one you want to contact for the youth program and for the introduction to As True in the AFA program. Ox. Very, very seldom do people dress up in tunics and medieval linen attire for events and celebrations. In the As True Folk Assembly, that's not something we do. That's certainly something AFA members have done in the past. But that's something that is not typically done at AFA events and AFA celebrations. We are people who exist in the modern age. We dress in a modern, respectful way to be dignified before our gods and before our folk. So yeah, we've adopted a say in the AFA, we try to dress classy for our gods and dress serious for our gods. And I know some folks that dress in medieval clothes that helps them feel like they're having a closer connection. And if that's what you want to do, fine. But in the AFA, we try really hard to make sure we're focused on the life we're living now instead of reenacting or playing at something that people did in the past. So very seldom do you see any kind of medieval costumes at AFA events. Joel, that's a good question. Sean, who used to do our store, is no longer handling it. I'm mailing things out from the store. We got a little bit of a holdup right now on shirts and some things. It's something we're looking for some volunteers to help on. And to make that happen, we're looking into embroidering some of our own products in-house to sell, like shirts and hats and things. So I can't tell you a good time on that, but it is something we're working on. AFA flags are always available. AFA flags are available on the website right now. If you go there and that's not the case, please let me know and I'll check and see if there's something weird on the back end. But AFA flags are always available. We have lots of them and we love to see them out there flying. David, how do we answer Christians who accuse us of worshiping the creation instead of the creator? I think that Christians who accuse us of that heard it from someone who heard it from someone and they repeat it. I think they're very ignorant of what we believe if that's the case. Certainly we worship the gods of creation. We talk about Odin being the Allfather and Odin and his brothers sculpting the world that we live in, our existence, and imbuing us with what makes us people. Um, so I don't think in any way we're worshiping the creation and not the creator. One of the things, the hallmarks of our folk and our gods is creation, is creating things. And I think that creating order from chaos is fundamental to our myth cycle. I think that's just one of those taglines that Christians like to use because they believe their God has some all powerful claim to creating anything and everything. And I think that they don't, if that's what they're accusing us of, they're not showing any respect to our belief for where we're coming from. They're trying to force our beliefs and our religiosity into their paradigm, and it just doesn't fit there. But yeah, I would answer them with talking about Odin and our story of creation and Odin fashioning, our existence. Hmm. Does the AFA allow persons of color to worship with us? No, we do not. The AFA is a folkish organization. Austria is an ethnic faith of European peoples, and we respect that and we worship the gods of our ethnicity. And we would encourage others to do the same in regards to their ethnic deities. That's what being folkish is about. Hmm. What else do we have tonight, guys? The concept of reincarnation is talked about in True communities. It's certainly talked about within the AFA. I think that that concept is much more mysterious than the common understanding of it. Um, I think that it's pretty much agreed upon that a part of our soul complex manifests throughout family lines and does reincarnate. I think a lot of that has to do with Hemenia and with luck throughout your family. And I think that carries certain traits and certain things of your ancestors. But we also have a very clear belief of our ancestors living on beyond the grave, beyond generations. If we believe that all of our grandmother incarnates into our daughter, when we offer blow to raise a horn, or we worship our grandmother at the altar, we don't look at our daughter, we look at our grandmother. So I think clearly there's a belief that that person lives on in an afterlife, and all of them doesn't just get completely and wholly recycled. But I think the nuances of that are certainly a mystery that we're still probing and searching for answers on. But it's a very complex thing, and I think that the very simplistic, oh, I used to be Joan of Arc in another life version of reincarnation is much too simplistic and isn't really what our ancestors thought that was. I know that's kind of a murky answer, but I hope that's useful in some way. Hmm. Um, yes, Freyr was of the tribe of gods of the Vanir, and he was accepted and became Aesir. Uh, what does the AFA think of Freyr? We worship and celebrate Freyr. He is one of the Aesir, and yeah, the AFA strongly practices a lot of our ritual is devoted to Freyr. Certainly, a lot of our harvest ritual, charming of the plow, we focus very heavily on Freyr and the abundance of the earth and penetrating the soil. No, we spend a lot of time worshiping Freyr. Hmm. Mhm. Yeah, Freyr's always been a god that got a lot of worship and celebration from our folk. Specifically, in the country of Sweden, Freyr was their royal god that they derived royal lineage from. He is a god of kings in Sweden and a god of abundance, of celebration of the green earth. So yeah, the celebration of Freyr is something tremendously important to us. I'm very excited for the day that we'll have a Hof to Freyr. While we're talking about, well, I was talking about Hofs, I guess. I'd like to just say out here publicly a huge thank you to our volunteers that have put in so much labor at Baldershof, getting that prepped and ready and taking care of that place to really make it a sacred temple for our gods, a sacred temple for Balder. Um, Brandy and Jason and Anna and other members have been out there just pouring love into that place, making it something truly special. We got an amazing deal on it, so we knew that would mean doing some work on the interior, fixing some things, taking care of it, shining it back up. And our members in the Northern Plains region, and specifically led by our amazing leadership there, they've done a great job. If you guys have seen the pictures on Facebook, Baldershof has its own page, but you can see them almost every weekend out there swinging a hammer, putting up drywall, doing doing work to make sure that place is special for Balder, and to also make sure that place is special for our AFA family when they gather there. Hmm. Absolutely, you should visit Thorshof as soon as you can. They're doing great things there. They've got good things going on at Thorshof. For you, that's not that terrible of a drive for you. So you should absolutely make it out there and get together with those guys. It's a very special place. I can't wait till the next time I get out there. It's uh, it's really something to behold and something to experience. You know what? A lot, as a thought, a lot of people have talked about making, pilgrimages, if you will, to the different Hofs. And that's a neat thing. And I think that there's something really special about each of them. I think there's something to be gained from making that journey and being there and worshiping our gods in their own Hofs, for the first time in 1,000 years. I think that's a really special thing to do, and I would encourage everybody to do that. I know um, local AFA members at these Hofs, they love to have people visit and be part of kind of their home Hof. It's easy to think of the Hof in your region as like your Hof, but these are all AFA Hofs. If you find yourself in a spot that doesn't have a Hof, you have three Hofs. It may be a little trek for you to get to them, but they're all home for you. And I would encourage you all to go and make it to those Hofs at any opportunity you can. It's really an amazing thing to worship our gods in a place of our own, in temples to them. It's special beyond words. Hmm. How can you support the baby blanket project if you can't knit or crochet? So this is something you guys may not know. Our AFA ladies provide for every new baby we have within the AFA. We provide them with a baby blanket just to show that their AFA family loves them and cares about them and is thinking about them. So that's something our ladies put a lot of love in, making blankets, these homemade blankets to get out to them. Um, Anna, you can sew a blanket. You can do any other word that means make kind of blankety stuff. Um, but also, if you know someone else that is doing the blankets, you could help them with supplies. There's always something you can do to help with the blanket situation. And I don't know all my blanket crafting terms, but it sounds like people on the side are giving you some tips on that. Hmm. Well, Brand, I would love to see Texas have a Hoff. I don't think we're quite there yet, but I would absolutely love to see that. We need a solid group of folks there that are consistent. We need that membership to be strong and consistent, and then we need to find a time that's right and in a situation that's right for it. But I would absolutely love to see one of our next offs in Texas. Hmm. I had somebody asking about Yule traditions and what some of my favorite were. Every family's got a lot of their own Yule traditions. Something we do at Odenshoff that's a Yule tradition that I'm excited about, and it's something that's been really special because we have a Hoff to do it at. But we like to go up there and host an event for the community to where kids can come out and we give toys out to kids, toys, hot chocolate, cookies, and read them Yule stories. That's a really nice thing in a really poor community, and it just feels good to be able to help those people out and to do something nice like that. So that's one Yule tradition we do that I really like. There's a lot of fun Yule traditions that are less, jazzy and Alcitrui. I've looked forward as a Yule tradition since I was a kid every year to going and seeing all the lights on the houses, and people have really perfected that into an art form. And there's some amazing neighborhoods with some really cool art, really cool light setups they've done. One thing kind of religiously that we used to always do up in Alaska that was really profound because Alaska's winters are so long and so dark. We'd all get together, my kindred up there, and on the night of of the solstice, on the longest night of the year, we'd get together and we would light a candle. We'd light a flame during that right as the sun was going down. And during the longest night, we'd preserve the light, we'd preserve the fire, we'd preserve that through that long period of darkness and welcome the new year, welcome the return of the sun. And we do that throughout the night. And sometimes I'd be lighting a candle at 3, 4 in the afternoon, and then holding vigil over that candle until 11 the next morning. But it was a special thing. We'd get together and we'd celebrate and play games and watch stuff and spend time together as a kindred. And that was a really special thing we used to do. I remember it was really important, and a couple of times I couldn't make it to where we were at sundown, so I lit my own candle. And I can remember driving in the middle of the winter trying to battle the defrost and keep my little candle lit as I'm driving to get up with my kindred brothers and sisters to celebrate. So that's a Yule tradition that was always very special to me. Crystal, will our other Hoffs have burial grounds like the one we have broke ground on in California? So, for guys that may not know, this summer at Midsummer, we officially interred the ashes of our first person at Odenshoff. We have a large area set aside to bury the ashes of our dead and give them that respect and that place in holy ground. Um, we're all set for that. We have one of our loved ones, as I said, already interred there. We also have space and are going to be doing that at Thorshoff. Thorshoff came with the remains of a gentleman that died there over 100 years ago. Um, his tombstone and his remains were largely forgotten by that community. There's a really nice, well-maintained graveyard across the road from Thorshoff. But on our property, there's one man's grave, Philip Bethea, and we're working right now to get pertinent information about Mr. Bethea so we can erect a proper, well taken care of tombstone to honor him. And then alongside him, we're going to inter the bodies or the ashes of our loved ones and AFA members there as well. So we have two locations for interment of ashes right now. Baldershoff and the grounds there just aren't set up for that. So we're going to have to talk about what we're going to do there. We may need to get additional land for that. We could also come up with some kind of a calabrium or something like that. So we're giving that thought. But yes, everywhere where it's available, it's very important that we have a place to lay the remains of our loved ones to rest, and a place that we can go and celebrate them and honor them. So we are looking out for that with all of our future Hoffs, and those that don't have the geographic or the landscape layout to make that feasible, we're looking for alternatives as well. John, are you talking about our Northwest Charming of the Plow? For the first time in a long time, the AFA is going to be having a national event up in Washington State. It's going to be in February for Charming of the Plow. If that's something you're interested in or something you can make, please get in touch with our folk builder there, Joe Rozenek, JROZENAK EK at runestone.org. And he can get you set up. He's putting on a really nice event. We're pretty excited. It's been kind of just a regional event for 2 years now, but it's been very successful. I was at the last one and it was great, and we wanted to turn that into a national event, really give it some attention and get more people at it. So I think it's going to be fantastic if you can make it Charming of the Plow. And I butchered spelling his last name. So once again, JROZANEK at runestone.org. And Joe will get you all set up. Okay. Jason asks, why is it spiritually relevant for our folk to reject modern victim culture and for us to pursue success and greatness instead, especially for our men? I mean, reading that out loud, it's self-evident and it's common sense, but in the world that we live in, we've seen that it's not. People celebrate victimhood all around us, and it's really unfortunate. In contrast to that mentality, our faith, our religion is a religion of winners and celebrating heroes and champions. One of the great virtues of Asatru is being victorious, is going out and making things happen and doing things. That's kind of the Faustian instinct of our folk, is to always push further frontiers, to be more, to achieve more, to climb higher, to do great things. It's been a hallmark of our people since the dawn of time. It's been a hallmark of Aryan man. And we lose that every time we celebrate victimhood. Every time we voluntarily put ourselves, in the role of being victimized. One thing that's an important way of looking at life, and I think this is specifically important for men, but I think it's important for all Asatru. If you view everything as, I think your fault is a strong word, but go with me on it. If everything is your fault and everything is something you're responsible for, then it's within your power to fix everything. If you look at the challenges in your life as something that you have responsibility for, then it's on you and it's within your power to change your circumstance, to fix those things. And that's a very simple thought, but it's an extremely empowering one. Every moment that we waste wallowing in victimhood and gnashing our teeth and raising our fist at who we think did us wrong or why we think something's unfair, that's a moment that we could be righting that wrong. That's a moment that we could be building, that we could be doing, that we could be helping each other build and do. And all of our foes would like nothing better than to keep us down and keep us convinced that we can't achieve because some outside force is preventing us. If we know that we can succeed, we refuse to accept being victimized and we go out and build and do. Don't always worry about the big thing you want to accomplish that's outside of your grasp. What small thing can you accomplish today that gets you closer? I think that can-do attitude is a hallmark of Alsa True. It always has been. And that's the key to any success in our lives, in our family, in our faith, in the world around us. So a can-do attitude is extremely important. Thank you for helping me out with that link, Mandy. In case I butchered Joe's name, too bad. Appreciate that. We have a couple of people talking about some death things over on the side. We had a couple of deaths close to us recently. And so I'm going to announce this here, but I'm going to post a link to it and share more about it on the AFA's Facebook page after this. A matter of fact, let me see if I can throw up a link in here while we're talking, because I think this is really important and I think this is a good time for it. I'm gonna share a link with you guys here. All right, so the link that I just posted, it's something that I found, and I've been thinking on this for a long time. We find a lot of us have not adequately prepared for death, and I think that's a big weighty thing. I think that our entire life is about, in some ways, preparing for the next life and preparing for death. But in a real concrete way, so many of us don't like to think about it and don't get their affairs in order. The idea of having a will and having those directives down and official is always something we'll do tomorrow, we'll do down the road, we'll do when we get older, we're young, whatever. But time sneaks up and unforeseen circumstances can happen to anybody. And we've seen too many lives cut tragically short. This may not prevent that, but I think it's really important to get squared away the things that we can so that our affairs are in order, our children, our assets are set up with what they're going to do, and the way that we're honored in death, where our body is laid to rest at, how our remains are handled, who makes those calls. In True, we're getting to where we have second and third generation True, and that's a beautiful thing. But so many of us, that's not the case. And if something were to happen and our family doesn't agree with or doesn't take our faith seriously, you may end up finding something with your funeral or with your remains that wouldn't really be in keeping with what you want. So it's really important to get those things done. The site that I linked is entirely free and it makes legally appropriate to the best of my knowledge. And I've asked our law speaker and he's pretty impressed with this site. It sets you up with a really simple but a good and comprehensive will, with contacts, with your executor, with all of the things you'd need in there, with what you want done with your remains. If you want to bequeath any of, outside of just passing it to your next of kin, if there's any bequeathment you want to do to a charity, to the AFA perhaps, to whatever you'd like to do, that's set up in there, and it's really handy. My wife and I went through last night and got ours set up. It's also got things with medical directives that you may want in there. I know power of attorney things for our loved ones, for ourselves. We just had to go through that with my mother. My mother suffers from dementia, and we had to deal with taking care of some of her power of attorney situations medically. These forms are also on that site. So I encourage you guys all to please go on there. If you don't have a will and you don't have stuff taken care of, it's very simple, it's very fast, it's easy, and it's free. A lot of us are intimidated going to see a lawyer about these things, or it's too expensive. I want each and every one of you, each and every one of us, to have what we want happen when we pass, what we want for our dependents, what we want for our assets, what we want for our remains, and how where we lie in rest is so important, and we can ensure that to the best we can by getting our affairs in order, getting that will in place, getting that stuff done, and that's a really cool place to do it. Also, the AFA wants to start storing that for our members that would like that stored with us. You certainly don't have to. It's your business. You take care of whatever you want. But if it would be helpful for us to have that on file in case, so that, should something happen, we have record and we can help your survivors out with having a copy of your will, we would like to do that for our members also. So, but those are just some thoughts that we had on that. And again, I'll share more about that probably on Facebook here after this tonight. AFA members in general, to answer Ox, AFA members generally have plans in place for emergency preparation and natural disaster relief stuff. I think that, right after your comment, it's mentioned that the Mormons stockpile a year of surplus food. I think stockpiling the things that you need is a really important thing to do. The AFA has talked about some things to encourage that way, and we're still working on it. But I know a lot of individual kindreds have really done a lot in the way of preparation for stuff. I think it's very wise to have supplies that you need in case of natural disasters, in case of a lot of things. A lot of us saw with the lockdowns that went on in March and April, how things that we took for granted that we liked or that we needed or that were important to us they weren't always there at the store where we could usually count on them. I mean, toilet paper is something we all laugh about, but that's the thing. So any of the things that you found yourself, man, I hadn't thought about that and I wished I had, now's a good time to make sure you get a couple extra when you go to the store. I know that's kind of a small answer to the question, but yes, a lot of AFA members individually have done things to prep for those things. Around our HOFs, there's been a lot of talk about natural disaster contingency plans and ways to help. There's so many different variations there, but I think it's wise to do the best you can to meet those things and to be as prepared as you can be. Sorry, guys, I'm catching up over on the side. I rambled about that will thing for a little bit, and we got some comments over here to catch up on. So how does the AFA handle disputes amongst members that can't seem to get the solution themselves? To be completely honest, that's something I wish people took us up on more often. Something that we've always talked about amongst our Gothar is a Gothi being able to mediate disputes amongst members and to get those things settled. And sometimes that happens, and that's certainly our plan. all too often people are too in the moment, too angry, or too full of themselves to want to get somebody objective to help them through come into a resolution. But the AFA has a system in place. Our Gothar stand ready to help members work through problems and come out with a solution that's gonna be fair and gonna help everyone move forward. We would love to do more of that, and I encourage any AFA member out there, if you guys are having a problem with another member, you guys should both bring it before one of our Gothies or our Githias, and we can work to find a resolution and move forward. We're a family, and that's how we want things to operate. So I would really encourage everybody to do that. Um, so Crystal makes a really good point. You should let your local hospital, let your primary care provider know your religious preference and have contact information for the Aus True Folk Assembly in general or for your nearest Gothi or Githia in specific. So often we don't think to do that. We're such a ironically, it's the rebirth of Aus True is so new. We're an ancient faith, but as far as that being a practical option for you, it's only been recent that we have the spread of folks to be able to make that happen. But don't forget that that exists and it's there. Everyone, when they ask your religious preference, don't slough it off and say other. Say True and say the AFA is my church. Here's the contact information. That's what our Gothar are here for. And speaking for our Gothar, we'd be tremendously honored to help in any kind of a medical situation and be there to advocate for you, be there to support you and your family emotionally through that, and be there to provide, provide ritual and connection with the gods while you're going through your medical scenario. Joel, absolutely go there and see how easy it is. If you don't like it, you can make a new one. It's free and it just takes minutes, but if you get that and you get it signed, then you have something. I'm really glad that my wife and I did that last night. I'm talking about getting the will made on the free will link that I posted. If you guys see that, please find that and please go there. I think it's a really important thing, and there's a number of people that we've lost that would have been much better served if they had known about this and done that. Hmm. Sorry, guys, just reading up on the comments on the side. Well, I'm glad, George. I'm glad the letter was meaningful. I meant everything in it. I think very highly of you, and I'm glad that letter helped you. Um, does anybody else have anything they want to make sure we cover tonight? Um, Thank you guys for joining me here. I look forward to these every single month. This is one of my favorite things to do in the month. I really like getting to talk to you guys in this way, and YouTube has been a really good platform for that. Not an expert on it, but I'm going to learn on these YouTube things every time that we move forward so we can do them a little bit better, and hopefully more folks will join us. But I love getting all your questions. I like connecting with you. We can't end without a cameo appearance from the most beautiful baby in the entire world, my daughter Aubrey. She is absolutely amazing, and I love her. And this is one of the best things that happened in 2020 to me. Mandy, thank you for bringing her up here to say hi to folks. And yeah, if that's all we've got for tonight, thank you guys so much for joining me, and look forward to talking to you guys next month. If I don't talk to you between now and then, I wish you guys all a very, very happy Yule. Please celebrate that. Spend time with your families, time with your kindred, time with your folk. Happy Yule to everyone. Hail the gods, hail the folk, hail the AFA.